Hey, welcome back to Spragueber Homestead. I'm Nikki, and today I'm going to do a little bit of an unboxing, which I never do, on the new worm composting bin that we bought. So most of you know I tend to be a pretty DIY kind of gal, but I decided to go ahead and buy an actual composting kit on Amazon for the red worms, just because it's going to be in the house, and where I'm going to have it setting, it maybe needs to look a little bit nicer, right? It's going to be in there next to my mealworm setups. And while the mealworm setups aren't super nice, there are a couple of aquariums and some plastic shoe boxes. They're at least kind of contained, and they don't look terrible, I guess. So what I ended up getting was the 5-tray dark green VermiHut Plus. Now, I've read a lot of different reviews. This one was recommended by a couple of different worm people that I follow, and I really like the looks of it. I'm not going to lie. It had good reviews, but it looks good, so I don't mind it being in the house. Some of them I wasn't real impressed with. The reviews would say things like rickety legs and that sort of thing, and who wants that, especially in the house? So why are we doing worms? Well, if you followed along, you know I've tried to do them twice this spring. The first time, the box got horribly smashed by FedEx. The second time, during that big storm that we had back in the spring, they actually got stuck in, I want to say it was Fort Lauderdale, for 2 weeks. So what I got was a very dry, very stinky bag of dead worms. So what I've decided to do this time is actually buy local. There's some fellas about 2.5 hours north of us that have composting worms, and I just happened to be going up that way for a rabbit show. So let's go ahead and open this box up and see exactly what we got with the kit. Alright, I think this is the bottom grate. We're going to find some instructions here in a minute. And that might even be the top. Oh, now here we go. Here's some of the good stuff. So it looks like what we've got. Let me find my packing list if it's got that in there, so I don't tell you what's wrong. Parts list. Okay, so we've got a spigot for the bottom tray, which we knew based on the thing. Here is a coconut core brick for worm bedding. Just kind of handy. We've got a cup to drain all the extra moisture that comes off of this stuff. Looks like we have some other tools that aren't even listed on here, which is kind of fun. So we've got a rake. I'm assuming that's considered a rake. I'm not even sure what that's going to be for, but I'm sure we'll have it in the instructions. I'm guessing to move stuff around. And I'm guessing these are going to be for filtering at the bottom. And then we've got this handy dandy little worm diet magnet, which will be really cool because I can just put it on the side of the fridge. We'll put a separate bin out for worm food, and that way Kanan can put what goes in there in the worm bin. Now the rest of this looks to be just our trays. Oh. And these fun little pieces are listed as ant traps, so I can't wait to see how that goes in. Looks like we've also got a core mat already in here, probably for filtering moisture out at the bottom, but we'll find that out when we go ahead and assemble it. And there's our spigot that it mentions. I don't know if I can get this all to come out without breaking anything, but let's find out. All right. And the rest of it, I believe, is just going to be our trays. So that was one tray there. And I will give it to them. They got a tight box. There's 2 more trays. And it looks like our last tray and our base piece. All right, and you can kind of see how tapered that is. on the base piece, which is really kind of nice. It does look like where the spigot's going to sit, there's always going to be some moisture that sits in there. Moisture in worms is usually what causes all of your smell. So moisture bad, that's why you want a spigot and to be able to get all that out. Unlike a lot of the other models that had these spindly little legs, this thing's all molded in. So it sits down nice. I don't have to worry about legs that snap off or anything. Nice big white base. So it looks like it's going to work pretty well. Okay, so installation on this bad boy is pretty simple, right? Not a whole lot of parts and pieces, especially for today. So the big thing is we need to get our spigot put in. And it's got 2 washers and a nut. Of course, the washers don't want to come off for nothing, but they're rubberized washers. All right, so leave one on. The other one you want to be still on the unit. And it's got a hole in it, so we just put the washer in. Put the second washer on the back. And then the nut just threads on there. All right, and then from there, we're going to put the white piece. Now this thing is listed as a worm saver base, and my guess is if they make it through the trays, this thing's supposed to be there to stop them. So we just go ahead and put that with the curve down. All right, the next step is just to put one of these trays on there. And there's actually little grooves on the worm saver tray. So you just kind of line that thing up. It all just kind of sits, so there's not a lot of locking parts with it. Once that's in place, then we can go ahead and just put the top tray on. All right, and the top lid is pretty snazzy. It's actually got some worms on it. It's got vent holes in it, and it's got what is basically a ventilation screen, and that just keeps the worms from making it out. And it just kind of sits on there. That's it. All right, now these fun pieces, when you go to use this, and we won't set it up today because we're not ready, right? These are ant trays. So basically, you set the legs of the unit in those trays and then fill them with, I'm assuming, water, I think is what it said. And that's just going to help keep ants out of your worm trays. Now, since we're going to have this in the house, we shouldn't have a problem with ants, but one never knows. All right, so I'll do another video when we actually bring when we bring the worms in and actually set the worms up, because there's going to be some prep work. We need to set them up for some bedding and actually get things ready. But basically, the initial installation is just what we showed. So all the other trays you add to this thing as you get everything going and start moving worms around and feeding them. But the initial installation, that is it. Boom, really easy, comes out of the box in just a couple of minutes and ready to go. And it doesn't look bad. I guess we'll see what I think of it once we've got it in operation. But right now, my first impression is, hey, it's all molded plastic, looks pretty good. It does say it's 100% recycled plastic, which is always good. I'm not a big plastic fan, but if we're going to do it, we might as well be recycled. And looks pretty easy. Now I got to get me some worms. So there you go. There is my unboxing video and a little quick assembly on the VermiHut composter. We will have more videos coming up as we start doing this project. So that's it for today. Happy homesteading.